Hello, everybody. Welcome to, I don't know what we call this thing. We call it something every day. Live streaming done better. It's my show called, was the GoProcast, and it was the, hold on. Got to give room for the bass. Then it was the Slight Edge Advantage. Became the Slight Edge Advantage, and now it's that was all podcast, but now we're live every single day, Monday through Thursday, 2:30 Eastern. It's all about spreading the message, touching people, having impact. And today, I've got Talk About Impact Plus. Annie Meehan is here, and we have a lot to talk about. Annie's in town. She doesn't live in South Florida. We are live from Pompano Beach, Florida, where it is always sunny and 75. It is today, especially.
It is beautiful out, yes.
But she's on the west coast of Florida, not the best coast, but the west coast.
Fort Myers Beach.
And the ironic thing was Annie's been a speaker for many years. She's been a professional speaker. She's been a motivational speaker. She's in the Minnesota Speaking Hall of Fame. And she's always had this theme, motivation, inspiration. The pineapple was a big thing. She has TED Talk, over 16,000 talks. However, 11 months after she moved from Minnesota to Fort Myers, 11 months she was in her condominium beachside during Hurricane Ian.
Yeah.
And that changed everything for her.
Yeah.
It changed a lot for her. And we have a running joke in professional speaking circles called Lucky.
No!
You mean you fell off a motorcycle, was dragged down the street by the back peg and lost 2 arms, and then you climb Mount Everest? Lucky. Must be nice.
Must be nice.
She didn't need that. She had enough to write about, she had enough to speak about, so she didn't need, but it has changed the trajectory of her speaking.
Yeah.
And she started on a new keynote. And so today's topic is called Keynote To E-Course, because Annie's here taping in the studio. That's why you can kind of see some of those lights. Her e-course based on her keynote speech about choosing to soar, which she actually has a book on. How many books have you got now?
9 as of last week, 9 books.
Okay, 1 more book and you get a set of steak knives.
I know, I'm going for the steak knives.
So choose to soar.
Yeah.
And this is green screen, so I've got the light's pretty good today. Woo, look at that. That's what happens. You got good light, and you ever seen people on podcasts or Zoom? They go, "Here's my book," and it disappears.
I've seen that a lot.
That's bad lighting.
That's bad lighting.
So choose to soar: Navigating Disruption in Business and Life by Annie Meehan. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now, and then we're going to talk about what you're doing here, how to take a keynote and make it an e-course, at least how we're doing it.
Yeah.
And so this won't be for everybody watching it, but for professional speakers, especially for aspiring speakers and for anyone who has a message to spread. Maybe they're not a keynote, but maybe they can still make an e-course.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, must be nice. That's so funny. Must be nice. Like when tragedy happens in the speaker world, people go, must be nice. I'm like, okay, not nice. I don't need more character or trauma in my life.
Right.
But ultimately, when the healing began, I was able to reflect and figure out, okay, how can I write a speech about this or create a speech? Because I'm not exactly a speechwriter, but create a speech. So I did that. And then a speech became, Annie, we want more, write a book. And so then I partnered with Rachel Ryan, and she helped me, guided me, coached me into writing it into a book, which became Choose to Soar. And then what happens when I speak is people are like, oh, I love your keynote, but can you do a full day training? Can you lead our retreat? And so they said, can you write a workbook about it? So you get the book, then you get the workbook. And then what Jeremy's talking about today is that what I love to do, this will be my second online course or e-course, is that I take the workbook, and I put that online, and then I make a module for, I always use steps.
Yeah.
So in this one is 7 steps, Be the Exception with 7 steps. So we get 9 videos, intro, 7 steps, and then an exit video. And we take those videos plus the workbook and make it an online course. And then people can do the DIY, right? Like some people can hire you as a speaker, and they want us at the big conference for the keynote. Some people are like, hey, can you come in and train a smaller group or our sales team or leadership team? And then some people are like, can you do a retreat? We really want to spend 3 days really helping you. As Jeremy and I know, sometimes people need a lot of help. We all need a lot of help. And then sometimes people are like, I love what you do, but I can't afford you, or I don't have the time.
Yes.
We want to make it available in book, in workbook.
And it's evergreen,
as an online course. It's evergreen.
So here's some of the things some of the notes I took about when we were going to do this, about the benefits of doing this, especially if you're an aspiring speaker or not as well-polished speaker. Number one, when you turn your keynote into a course, boy, do you get to understand your course, your keynote, I mean.
Yes.
Because you can expand.
Yes.
A keynote is 1 hour typically, 45 minutes or so, maybe sometimes 90 minutes. But even with a story, with what you have, when you turn it into a course, you can really now take your time and go deep into each section of your keynote, go into those stories, talk about multiple stories, and it's your time. People can push one fast, 1.25, 1.5, and they can make a 3-hour course into an hour and a half, right?
So can they slow it down if we talk too fast?
I'm sure, but I do that on purpose, and I just pretend like they're smoking dope. Like, look, Annie's high again. Hey, everybody, we're choosing the sword.
Oh, I don't want to know people do this to my courses. Oh, my
I do
gosh.
that, really, ask her. Yeah, and I laugh. But basically, it really does give you a chance to tear your keynote down.
Yeah.
And then when you go, you know what? In doing that, I've now shined a light on something that I've never touched on stage. Let me switch this out. You're in front of a different audience. And, one of the parts I talk about in the keynote and I talk about on the module, when I go 3 levels deep, would work on this audience. Yeah. So I won't do what I normally do. So that's one of the things I saw you doing, is going really deep on these modules.
Yeah.
So even when you do help people, you're helping them in a different way this way.
In a different way. And one thing Jeremy and I were talking about is attention span, right? And so they can be really short. Like, people will be like, oh my gosh, that's too long of a speech. Short speeches are always harder than long speeches. But for me, each module is a speech, is a training. So it should have a story, a point to that story, and then an application of how the listener can apply it. And so, we're going through all this. So Jeremy and I are talking about, this is a short one, this is a long one. And so we're going to film 9 today. I think we're halfway through, a little more. But it's pretty exciting, and people can access it anytime, anywhere, based on their schedule. Evergreen.
Yeah. Another thing I like is that when we record these, we watch some of it back. And I think it can help you tighten your speech. Yeah. Right? Especially, again, for newer speakers. I'm a newer speaker. So every time I watch myself, and I'm not one of those people, I hate my own voice, or I hate watching myself. I love watching myself, and I love my voice. But I'm very critical because I watch it. I'm not watching it for my ego. I'm going, how can I improve it? Look how I was standing. I was the caged tiger in that one. Why? Yeah. Where could I have paused more? Where could I let that breathe? Especially if I have a camera facing out and I can see where the audience is leaning in or the heads are nodding. I go, next time I have to stop on that one. That one landed. Yeah. So I like watching. So doing this can tighten your talk. Yeah. And you think, I'm making it longer, but you have the opportunity now to make it really tight. Yeah.
Before we go any farther, too, I always love to answer questions. So people like to call it picking my brain. I just like to, how can I encourage you? Right? Yeah. Where are you at in your journey? If you want to be a speaker, if you think you have a story that has relevance for the audience, not just about how great you are, how much you've overcome, but how your wisdom can serve organizations and individuals, feel free to ask Jeremy and I any questions about speaking, coaching, writing books, workbooks, and creating online courses today.
You can do it now. We have the chat. Normally, we see the chat from LinkedIn and YouTube, sometimes Facebook as well. We can see those live. We can answer questions live. You can actually dial in, and I've got the phone. If you dialed in, the phone number is on the thing, on the body of wherever you saw this on, and you talk to us right now live through the air.
Which doesn't always happen because we're busy people.
No, that's why I like going live every day, because what this is, it's sponsored by Coaching Done Better. Your coach that's going to be on the platform. I only highlight coaches that are on the platform. Yeah. So if you want to be on the show today or any day, just go ahead and join Coaching Done Better. Yeah. But we're going to take this show, typically go live like we are now for the first 10, 15 minutes, and then basically go over to the live private if you have to be a member. So it's a perk of being a member. And it's free to be a member of Coaching Done Better, and you get access to Annie's schedule and her videos and her resources and all the coaches on there. So we help people with their mind, body, and business. We're in speaking mode right now.
Yeah, that's right.
The next thing, one of the biggest things that a speaker needs, huge. Darcy Leoma talks about this. I had her on my show before, and I saw you have a couple of these. At least if you don't know it, you have a couple of opportunities for these. Content modeling. Huge. It's huge for IP or intellectual property.
Okay.
And when people think of Choose to Soar, when they look at this model, they might start thinking of that pie. They might start thinking of that roadmap. They might start thinking about those rocks with the people, the relationship builders.
Yeah.
And so those contents, when you tie it to your brand, that model becomes in sync with your brand.
Yeah.
You know, and
So
that's
stepping stones. He's talking about stepping stones about who lit your path. So you're talking about some of the exercises and examples I have
in the workbook that
in
you
my
created.
workbook. Yeah.
And I saw those as content model that you can leverage to
Yeah.
work on your brand, and to when people see that, they know that's Annie.
That's Annie.
Yeah, that's her content. It's content modeling, and that's where Darcy's living these days.
She's amazing.
She is amazing.
Yeah.
So content, yeah. So you got a number of things in your workbook, and then also, if you're a keynote speaker and you're hired to do a keynote, how much could you charge if you say, "Listen, here's my price. It's $5,000, but for $6,000, every single person will get one of these in their seats when they sit down."
Yeah.
And you could create the workbook.
Absolutely.
And so creating the course allows you to be creative and creating a workbook.
That's right.
And
So in my model, what I do, so nobody can buy the workbooks individually. They have to be paying for me to come and present, and then they can buy the workbook.
but is it an upsell? It's buy it.
It's an upsell, yeah.
Yes.
So I charge for my workbook $5 a piece, which gives me a little more than cover, but basically cover. But I love, this is cardstock, it's color, it's brilliantly bright, and what I want is them to have a tool that they put on their desk that has my contact information on it. So next time they need a speaker, they need a trainer, they have something else. And same with my books. I love, you kind of said upsell, but for me, I'm always like add value, right? So my books, this one's $20 a piece. If you buy 100 or more, you get 50% off, as long as you're bringing me in to speak.
Yes.
But sometimes I'm doubling my fee based on products that they want to buy. I always have a handout, but to get the workbook, which is beautifully done, the books, I just try to add value. Right?
Yeah,
So
but
they
look
can
at
keep on going.
they're on brand. I mean, you obviously put a lot of thought. They match.
yes.
You know, the book is on the thing, and it's your, and you know, your logo is on the back. So everything's in your story. Everything is always done on brand, which a lot of people overlook that, especially newer time people doing the first time. They get an idea, they're inspired, but they're going away from their brand, which is going to hurt them.
And it's hard to remember. What I always like to say to people is, I get to work with a lot of beginning speakers. I was a facilitator for the NSA Academy. I'm starting a course free to fee, which both of us kind of help speakers go from free or pro bono work to paid work, right? And so I say free to fee, but one thing I love to tell people is first, what is your color? So pick a color. What do you love? Do you love blue? Do you love orange? Especially when you're first starting out. But then get a symbol, whether it's a pineapple or I move from a butterfly to an eagle. As you progress in your business, you might have a new symbol. But as amazing as you are, which I'm sure you're amazing, we all as speakers can think, oh my gosh, I was great. That's awesome. It doesn't mean you're memorable. And what I mean by that...
I wish I had my Stream Deck is over there, because I had to turn everything around because I'm producing today, but I have a button that has a lightning bolt. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a good one.
So I've been at conferences where it's 7 days. 7 days of an opening keynote every single day. People think they're brilliant, whatever. And the next day, people be like, you know that one? She was amazing. Amy or Annie or something. They have no idea.
yeah.
But they go, the pineapple one? Oh, you mean Annie Meehan? When you get a symbol, people do not forget symbols.
Yeah.
Jeremy, it's you can have 40,000
Velvet
people.
Machete.
They'll remember.
Who's the Velvet Machete?
Yes,
Right?
Velvet Machete. Yes, I can. Amber. I have her in my face, but in my mind, but I can't.
Yeah,
so
but that
Amber.
puts you on the
That's
spot
right.
there.
That's right.
Because Velvet Machete, there's only
That's
one.
Amber.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Our dear friend, Amazing Amber. A lot of amazing people.
We have a lot of amazing people in common. And because we're part of this little organization, this community of speakers, I was in construction for 30 years. And yeah, what a cutthroat industry. Speaking is not that way. Most of us, in large, are the most giving crowd of folks that I've ever been surrounded by. So it's been a nice transition. I've had my mentors, I've had my heroes, and looking at your content modeling with those reflections of who has been there for these. I had faces come up, not 40,
I love
but
that.
a few. But in speaking, if I could come up with double that, probably 8 to 12, probably 20 to 30 if I really took a minute. And I've only been in it for 2 years now. You know, so it's the industry that we've chosen to be around. And it's all uplifting and not lifting the ladder up.
Yeah. Collaboration over competition. We collaborate and we teach each other. I get to work with Jeremy's group today. Jeremy's going to come in and work with some of my people.
Exactly
That's what we
right.
do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, make a day of it. Come early. Let's get some video down. That's the gift that we have to give each other. And so we've got a lot of people watching this, and even if it's right now, it says 4, so let's figure that's 12 across all the platforms. That's not a whole lot, but this is going to be around forever. Yeah. People, when they Google things, they come up, right? Yeah. So one of the things I like about making this course is that even though once you put it out there, it's now part of the ether. And it's assigned to you, and you can make money while you're sleeping. I used to call it mailbox money.
Yeah, magic mailbox, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Passive income, right? Owning homes, they say, is passive. Bullshit. Termites, toilets, and tenants. Nothing passive about that. Hey, Bob. But when you do an e-course, that's truly passive.
Yeah.
Truly passive. Do it, set it, forget it.
Yeah.
But one of the things, again, I love is that you have time to go so deep and make these things more
personal.
Well, that's the thing. When you're in front of an audience, you only have one shot. You've only got a few moments, and so you're trying to gauge the audience. But when you're doing a course, people will just maybe skip. Oh, that resonates. Let me go back and listen to it. So you're going to hit a much broader audience with your e-course. Yeah. With your doing it, and so it's a very easy process too. Yeah. How did you physically come up with the graphics and this stuff? Did you use?
To be honest with you, I have an assistant that I work with, and what we did is she came to my home, and I said, listen, because we do a lot through the internet, through using our computers, right? I can't always meet with her with my travel schedule, but I said, this is one I need to sit down and go with. This is so personal to me and so important, and I want it to be excellent. And so we sat side by side and created the pages and talked about, what do I want to teach in each page? What am I looking for them to see, to feel, to experience? And so that's how we...
And I like it, and I'm going to show, and let me show, this is another big one. If you're going to be a professional speaker, you're not professional until you have an acronym.
You gotta have I have a lot of acronyms.
So this one, but look how big is the acronym is big. The places are big. The questions are few. Couple pictures. It's about inner work, not what's on this. You're not feeding them everything. You're asking very poignant questions and giving them the space to learn and grow for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between a good e-course, I think, and somebody who's got that spotlight a little bit turn more towards themselves.
Yeah.
And you've done a great job here at giving us a tool to let us grow in a way that's we can do it on our own pace. But you're asking very poignant questions. So drilling down allows us, again, to tighten our talk now.
Yeah.
After this, you can go back to that keynote.
That's right. I appreciate you saying that, because I think a lot of online courses are to create chaos, so you're forced to buy the coach or the speaker.
Give them all the hows, not the whats.
Yes, and then they just get more, and then they need you even more.
Yes, give them the whats and sell them the hows.
Yeah,
right?
And I'm like, I want this to be complete. So if you choose to buy this online course, you're going to have more than enough information, ideas to apply to your own business, your own life, and then to get the results you need.
I think that there's a fine line between when you're ready to do that. You're at the point now where you make most of your income speaking.
Correct.
Right? 50 times a year you're out getting paid. And this is now you're adding layers, you're adding value, you're adding different avenues to make money, so maybe you don't have to, or if something happened again, I'm not going to say the C word, we have a place now online to teach people without being present. But if you are new, there's nothing wrong with giving them the whats and charging for the hows, because that's how you get started. But there is a way to do it that's not salesy.
Yeah.
And
one thing I like, it does, for me, it starts with a speech, then a book, then a workbook. One thing, Jeremy, is if you listen to your audience, to your friends, to your family, what are they looking for? So I feel like I've produced, like I said, 9 books. I have audiobooks, Kindle books, workbooks, online courses, but I listened. What did your audience want? So when you are listening to your audience, to your clients, and they say, I wish you had more of this, or I wish it motivates me to go create, because this is hard work for me. The speaking is more natural, but the writing, the focus,
is very natural for you.
Yeah, the concentration, that's the systems and process, that stuff is not my strength.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. And that, we talked about earlier CRMs, and we have CRM Done Better, where we do a place to put these courses and integrate it into your social media, and we have people that can help push it out there for people. So if you're looking for any of this stuff, reach out to us, reach out to me, reach out to Annie. Go to coachingdonebetter.com, sign up. It's absolutely free, not even a credit card number. You won't get inundated with a bunch of spam, I promise. Yeah. And then look at our profiles and come to our schedules and schedule some time. more. If you want to learn, Annie's a coach. You can learn from me. If you want to learn, I don't really sell my services on coaching because I've got the platform. But if you're looking to really, who are the type of people that you work with one-to-one? Do you even do any more one-to-ones?
I do still do
Yeah,
one-to-one.
good.
I'm doing some groups. I mostly do corporations, about 80% of my business, and then I do about 10% in products and 10% in coaching.
Yeah.
But your question, what are my audiences? I work with people in hospitality, healthcare, and financial services primarily.
Yeah.
But I have a broader audience than that. And what happens is when I speak, then people are like, can I work with you alone? Can my team work with
Sure.
you? So based on my schedule, if I have time, I'll do that. More teams or organizations.
Yeah.
But I slip some individual in. And sometimes I will meet them outside of hours just because I've been with them so long. And they're like, please don't leave me. Can we do 8 a.m.? Can we do 5 p.m.? And sometimes I don't like to do that, but other times
Yeah.
I'm like, absolutely, happy to serve. So.
Yeah, sometimes you get sideways, but it's good. Being more busy is good than
That's right.
better than being obscure and
That's
in the
right.
shadows and trying to break through. And that's where so many of my viewers really are. There are a lot of my viewers are new, aspiring, or they're like Bob Frere works with people and teaches CEOs how to present.
Okay.
So not really
Presentation skills.
speaking professionally, but they do get paid a lot of money to speak.
That's right.
Some of my biggest sales have been as a vice president of operations selling contracts to Facebook and to AT&T. And that's the kind of people that Bob helped. But that's where these kind of shows, you just don't know who's watching. You don't know when they'll see it.
Yeah.
And so
I love to
making
work with law firms on their presentation skills. They might not be giving a speech, but they need to be confident and clear in articulation when they're working with
talk to
clients.
do
and
a
everyone.
jury.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
the speech.
Yeah.
And it's somebody's life or their livelihood is normally on the line.
That's right.
Whether it's criminal or civil, it's a big impact.
Serious.
So we're going to get back to work.
Okay.
All right, so we've got
More filming.
a couple more courses, modules to do, and then then we're going to dinner.
There you go. Hi,
yeah.
John and Bob. Nice to see you guys here, and whoever else is listening, please connect.
Yeah, connect with us. We appreciate your support. Thanks for the chat stuff, guys. Remember, Coaching Done Better is the place to go when you. It's music. When you want to get better every day in your mind, body, or business. We have coaches on there across the board making people better. Reach out to us. Take care. Brush your hair.